Good Yontif, good Purim, my beautiful friends. Purim. I'll tell you, let's take the most important thing in the world, peace. You know why there is no peace in the world? Because it's just so simple. If it would be the word, it would take 5 years to spell it, and 10 years to put on a computer. It has, doesn't people realize? Nothing special, right? You know, Purim is the most simple holiday in the world. You can sell your herring, you can be on the telephone. It's like a weekday. But Gewalt is that holy. Gewalt is that holy. The sleep of the world, Yom Kippur is important. You fast. And the Mamash you stand in shul all day. That they understand is holy. But you sell it with a piece of herring. With one hand. With the other hand you make a phone call. But it just looks this way. Inside. Inside you're flying higher than heaven. Higher than heaven. That's hard for them to understand. You know, if Purim would be the law that every Jew has to give another Jew $1 million, they would talk about it all year long, right? They would make appeals in shul, gotta have money for shlachmanas. But now it's just too simple. You take a banana and a piece of cake, and you give somebody a gift. It's not important. I'll tell you something. I once heard from the old Mordechai Rebbe. He said, unbelievable Torah. He says, Torah is sometimes like food, and sometimes like medication, or like a vitamin pill. Imagine if you would tell somebody, you have to eat 20 kilo of salad. I think it's about, right? Tell me, can you take a pill? Looks too small. He says, today, our age is the age of pills. But not only in medications, also in Torah. What our parents had to learn 20 years to get the salad down to their kishkes. Today the Rosh gives us a pill. I want you to do something very deep, friends. Everybody knows when you read the portion of the week on Shabbos, if you miss one word, it's sad, but you don't have to read the portion again. By the Megillah, when you read the book of Esther, if you miss one word, you start over again. You have to get the whole thing. The whole thing. I want you to know, my beautiful friends, basically learning is one word after the other. It takes so long. But then there are moments when God gives us the whole thing. The whole thing. And when God gives me the whole thing, I don't want to miss one word. So here, my beautiful friends, on Purim, while I'm selling my hair and making a phone call, what God is putting in my heart, and hopefully in the heart of my children, the whole time, all of Yiddishkeit, all of life, everything which is important in the world. So if some of you remember, Purim night when we read the Megillah, it's fast. Because it's not a matter of learning. It's just, do you have to take a pill slow, right? You throw it in your mouth, gargle it down, right? Same as Megillah, just take it all in. You know, beautiful friends, if people would know where you reach when you read the Megillah, the whole world would come to hear. The whole world. It's a few minutes reading, but the light. Ah, what a light. It's not the Torah the way it's coming down to this world. It's the roots of the Torah. You remember we were once learning why is God's name not mentioned in the Megillah? And maybe later on we'll come to it, but right now I want to share with you. Basically, God is my teacher, He's teaching me. But said enough, I'm not aware of it, so I read God said so, God said so. When I read the Megillah, it's clear to me that God is reading it, right? God is reading me a love letter. So God doesn't have to say God, He is reading it. He is saying it. Anyway, I'm inviting all of you friends, the whole world, wherever you are, or come here to this shul, or wherever you are. Just get to hear the Megillah. Everybody knows basically the Megillah is the story of 9 years. 9 years. Achashverosh told Vashti to come in, not in a very holy outfit, and she refused, and Achashverosh killed her, and maybe some of you know why Vashti was punished this way. Because Gewalt. Have you ever heard what's going on in concentration camps? The way women treated women? Even more cruel than that. Vashti, the way she treated Jewish girls was absolutely in the most degrading way. So she was punished. And Esther became the queen. So the Kedushin says an unbelievable Torah. Imagine the first year. A Yiddish comes into the synagogue and he says, "Did you hear the latest? Vashti was killed." He says, "Who cares? Just forget it, don't bother me, I'm learning." A few weeks later he comes and says, "Did you hear? They took away Mordechai's wife and made her the queen." And he says, Esther? Who knows what she did? Forget it. I don't want to hear about it in this matter. 9 years later, Haman has this Gewalt idea to kill all the Jews. 9 years later. And suddenly at the end of the Megillah, they realize that this is one story. You know what the Megillah is all about? Unless you know the whole story from beginning to end, you don't. You know when Elijah the prophet is coming, suddenly when Mashiach is coming, we'll come to the end. And suddenly the whole story of us Jewish people will be so clear to us. It'll be so clear to us that God was leading us by the hand all the time. And everybody in their own personal life. Suddenly we are so angry at God sometimes, we are so hurt. We think, God, why are you doing this to me? Wait. Won't it be clear to you? About how good is to me. How God is so good to me. Taking care of everything. The deepest, and all those things which don't even seem to connect, suddenly at the end, everything connects. One more very, very important thing. Esther says to Mordechai, get all the Jews together. You know what the problem with this is? We don't know how much we are connected. We know so little how the events in history are connected, but we also don't know how one human being is connected to the other. One of the great Rosh Yeshivas, I think, once said something unbelievable. Someone told him that in Alaska, one Eskimo killed another Eskimo. He says, you know where this began? Because one yeshiva boch insulted another one. The vibrations. Till it comes to Alaska, it's matter. We don't know the connectedness of the world. Remember, Rabbi Nachman says, and give me good harmony. The Holy Master, the Holy of Holiest, the deepest of the deep, the Heilige Rebbe, the Heilige Reb Nachman of Breslov says, how does war begin? Somewhere, on a lonely island. There's father and children. They all woke up in the morning. The parents did not say good morning to the children. The parents did not kiss the children. And the children were so broken. Nobody knows how to love. And the vibrations travel all over the world. And the vibrations travel from one corner of the world to the other. And at the end of the world, people kill each other, hate each other. So where does peace begin? Where does peace begin? Where does peace begin? Somewhere, on a lonely island. Mother and children woke up in the morning, and the parents kissed the children. And they say, good morning, little angels from heaven. Good morning, most beautiful children. Thank you for being in the world. They could never live without you. And the vibration, at the end of the world, people began loving each other. People who yesterday hated each other woke up at the same time and suddenly there was so much love in their heart. They had to make peace. I want you to know, my friends, all year long, you know why I don't walk around giving someone a banana and half a piece of cake? Because I don't think it's important. And I don't think I'm doing anything, because you have a banana in your house, cake you have. Purim. Purim. When you give someone a banana and a piece of cake, you know what I'm doing? I'm wiping out evil from the whole world. I'm wiping out the Molech, the arch enemy of Israel, of God, the arch enemy of the world. What is the greatest evil in the world? The Holy Shlomo says the greatest evil in the world is to think, I'm all by myself. Nobody loves me. Nobody's really connected to me. And my actions don't affect anybody. What's the biggest fixing in the world? Then it's clear to me. Gewalt, it's clear to me. My bananas affect the whole world. My piece of cake turns over the world. Me and you, Gewalt, are we connected? And you know why Shlachmonos you don't send face to face? Because we're not talking now about if I love you when I see you. Because when I see you, I don't have to be connected to smile at you. The question is, how much am I connected to you when I don't see you? Connection. You know when we say Shema Yisrael, I close my eyes. Well, you know what I'm telling God? Gewalt, am I connected to you? Gewalt, am I connected? You know when you kiss someone, you love them very much, you close your eyes? You know what I'm telling you? Gewalt, am I connected? And you know children when they're born, is anybody ever more connected to parents than children when they're born? It's deeper than loving. It's deeper than anything. They keep their eyes closed. You know, when a baby's born, you'll ask the mother, since when are you connected to this baby? She said, was there ever a second in my life when I was not connected to you? You know, my children might be born yesterday, but my connection is always. So everybody knows on Purim, on Yom Kippur we make peace with God, but in Purim we make peace with our children. Purim is peace between us and God, but Purim is peace between one person and the other. Ah, so beautiful. You know, Yom Kippur, the whole world doesn't come running. They say, yeah, you have a special relationship to God, Mazel Tov. You know, I appreciate it. Oh, when the whole world sees us Yidden, the way we love each other, they all want to be Yidden. They all want to be part of us. You know, sometimes you and I, we walk down Fifth Avenue. You see people yelling at each other. You see husband and wife walking next to each other but 2 million miles far from each other. Do you feel, I like to be part of that? No. Then sometimes you see somebody holding hands, kissing each other, and suddenly you think, I wish I would be part of that. So Mazel Tov and Good Purim, I bless you and me to be part of all the bananas, all the pieces of cake. And if you remember my beautiful friends, Rabbi Yitzchak Baditsheva, did anybody know more how to love people than Rabbi Yitzchak Baditsheva? Rabbi Yitzchak was so much in love with every person. He absolutely refused to believe that anybody in the world ever did anything wrong. He absolutely refused to believe there's evil in the world. Not because he was so naive, because he was so deep. Because Kabbalah was see deep. So Rabbi Yitzchak Baditsheva, all day Purim, he was mamish kissing all the shlachmonos he got. You can just see it. The Heilige Rabbi Yitzchak, sitting all day kissing all the apples, all the oranges, all the pieces of cake. But one more thing, you know what Amalek is also? You know what the greatest evil in the world is? When you take away somebody's self-confidence. You know why there's no peace in the world? Because nobody really has confidence in themselves that they can do it. We don't believe in it anymore. Amalek. You know when you came out of Egypt, what did Amalek tell us? Yeah, you're very cute. You're free now for a few weeks. Soon you'll be slaves again. You know, I don't want to say anything in history. So many nations became free. And you know how long their freedom lasted inside? A little while. Because nobody gave them confidence. Nobody gave them confidence. You know something? Sometimes I play in prisons, and the saddest thing in the world is, you know, sometimes I come for the second or the third time, and I ask, where's Moshe, where's Chazaneh? They say, oh yeah, they got out of prison. They'll be back soon again. You know what that means? When they walked out from prison, someone said to them, you'll be soon back. Took away every ounce of self-confidence. Every ounce. You know, I'm a little bit friendly with the homeless people. Actually, they're my best friends. Hopefully. And sometimes I ask them, what about this one, where are they? They say, you know, thank God they found a home. But they'll be back soon. They'll be on the street again. So Purim, the most important thing is to give each other confidence. And you know what it is? Gewalt that we're loving each other in Purim. And you know the way we read the Parsha on Shabbos? Yom HaShabbat. Purim, the Megillah, is fire. Mamish fire. It's an atomic explosion inside every word. So here's the famous story, and just bear with me. Friends, how do you say good Shabbos? Shabbos. You say it sweet, cute with a ning. Shabbos. But how do you say good Purim? You don't say good Purim. No. It's not the way to do it. And here's the story. The Heilige Maggid of Koshnitz had so many Chassidim, but absolutely the poorest among them, not poor in his heart, but poor in his pockets, it's Chapinchasl. So Purim morning, there's a long line, everybody gives the Heilige Maggid Shlachmonos, and Pinchas is also standing in line, but he doesn't give the Rebbe Shlachmonos, doesn't give any gifts. So the Rebbe said, Pinchas, why didn't you bring me Shlachmonos? Why didn't you bring me a gift? So Pinchas says, Rebbe, I have a wife and 7 children. You have nothing to eat. I have no money to buy you a gift. The Holy Maggid looks at him and says, Pinchas, you know what your problem is? You don't know to say good Purim. Come, I'll teach you. Stand straight. You can just see Pinchas will never stand like this. Amalek not only took away every self-confidence, Amalek was already bending down his spine. He said, stand straight like a king. And he says, say after me. Good Purim! Good Purim! And the Maggid says, good Purim and Pinchas. And he says, good Purim and Rebbe. Good Purim and Pinchas. Good Purim and Rebbe. This goes on for a long time. Then he says, Pinchas, okay, now that you know to say good Purim, go out and get Mishtachmanos. And you know, Pinchas, every Friday he goes to the grocery store, stands there like after an Amalek attack, and he stands there and people pass by, give him a little herring, a little challah. He's ashamed to lift up his head. This time he walks into the grocery store. They can barely recognize him. And he says, good Purim! Good Purim! Good Purim! Says it's Purim. I'll pay you later. Right now I need the biggest, longest, widest, most best tasting cake and the biggest bottle of wine, and to give Shlachmonos to my Heilige Rebbe. No problem. Pinchas, our best customer, how could we not? He runs back to the shul, and the Heilige Maggid is standing by the door, waving at him. Pinchas yells, good Purim, Heilige Rebbe. And the Maggid says, good Purim, Heilige Pinchas. Finally give them Shlachmonos. And the Maggid says, Pinchas, I know how much you took out of him. I want to give you Shlachmonos back. I bless you that the strength of Purim should be with you forever. Pinchas goes right back to the grocery store and he yells again, good Purim. He says, I have a wife and 7 children. They have nothing to eat. Today is Purim. Oh, they bring the biggest box, fill it with cake, with herring, and who knows what else. And I always tell my friends, I'm sure Mordechai Nester helped him to carry it because Pinchas, who hasn't eaten since his bar mitzvah, how did he have the strength to carry so much? He passes by a store where they sell children's wear. And he walks in and he says, good Purim! I have 7 children, they have nothing to wear. Oh, no problem, Gewalt. How old are they? What's their favorite color? What's their size? And how did they carry this one? I'm sure Elijah the prophet came to help him. Then he passes by a boutique. He says, good Purim. I want you to know my wife was once the most beautiful woman in the world. But now she's ashamed to walk on the street. She has only rags to wear. It's Purim. I'll pay you later. Can you please give me the most beautiful dress for my wife? No problem. How could we not? And you know, my beautiful friends, Pinchas never says good morning to his children. He's ashamed. He walks in, sits in a corner, is ashamed to lift up his eyes because he comes without food. For the first time, Pinchas comes and he yells, good Purim! Oh, you can just see those little kids, their eyes glowing in the dark. They're so proud of their father. And they say, good Purim, Sister Tata. Pinchas says, stand in line. I have to teach you how to say good Purim. And he yells, good Purim! Good Purim! Good Purim, Tate. Then he says to them, I want you to know, I want you to know, until today, I was not much of a father. But this beautiful wife, he says, I want you to know, I'm so sorry, I wasn't much of a husband. But from today on, everything will change. Do you know that the Holy Maggid blessed me with the strength of Purim forever? So good Purim! And he's giving out shtachmanos to his wife, to his children, and every second they yell good Purim to each other, good Purim, good Purim. And the Holy Maggid, the Holy of Holiest, sitting by the feast of Purim, and suddenly says, shh, I just heard a voice in heaven. The Master of the world says to the angels, shh, I want to hear how Pinchas teaches his children how to say good Purim. The next day, Pinchas walked into the office of the richest man in town, and he said, good Purim! The Holy Maggid blessed me with the strength of Purim. Please give me a loan of 10,000 rubles. I'll pay you back in 4 weeks. No problem. The fact is, an historic fact, that Pinchas became the richest Jew in Poland. And you know the three giants, the Sea of Lublin, the Maggid of Koshnitz, and Rab Mendel Rimenov. Every Shabbos where thousands of people wait. Who paid the bill? A heading Pinchas. Gewalt. What Purim can do to a person? Well, this is not the end. Approximately between 1815 and 1820, the peasants in Poland made a revolution, but said enough, not against the Tsar, because they decided it's the Jews squeeze out their last ounce of blood. Nebuch the Yidden was so persecuted. But that's how the world is, even today. Anyway, there was a big gathering, thousands of peasants with weapons, with knives, with swords. And they wanted to kill all the Jews. It was awesome. And Pinchas, all by himself, went to the gathering and said, take me to your leader, take me to your Rebbe. And Pinchas can imagine with how much strength he spoke to them. He said, it's not us who make your life so miserable. It's the Russian government, who is your enemy, who is my enemy. The Russian government, who has no compassion on the poor. And because of Pinchas, there was no pogrom. So anyway, good Purim! Good Purim! Good Purim! You know, Israel is sending to United Nations a lot of great speakers. Gewalt that Pinchas should go to the United Nations. Pinchas has to go to Egypt. Pinchas has to go to Iraq. Pinchas has to go to Syria, and has to tell them, we are not your enemies. We are your cousins. What are you fighting against? It's crazy. It's crazy. But where do you get the Pinchas? But I want you to know, when we read the Megillah, at that moment, God gives us so much energy. And you know, when we say the word Haman and the Megillah, Mamash would give a big zets, And if you remember, we're learning it from Bobov. One test. Because if you give two, that means the first didn't work, right? That means already Amalek took away your self-confidence. That's what Amalek says. You can't beat me. One time. But for real. You know, my beautiful friends, so many people walk around saying, I'm proud to be a Jew. But you know something? I don't see it. What do you mean you're proud? So therefore, what do? Therefore, you live not like a Jew, because you're so proud of being a Jew. If I'm proud of being a Jew, then I want everyone on the street to know that I'm a Jew. You know, it says, Mordechai Yehuda was one Jew in Shushan. And the Gemara says, there was one Jew. Shushan was thousands of Jews. There was one Jew who had tzitzis hanging out. There was one Jew who wanted the whole world to know he's Jewish. You know, my great-great-great-great-grandfather, I told some of you, was a chassid of the Meir Shlomo, and he went to Germany, and you know, on Shabbos you wear Strammel forehead, but he wore the Strammel all week long, because he was so afraid, maybe they wouldn't know that he's Jewish. So, I have to tell you something, just to mention my holy grandfather. You know, in Poland they thought the Jews in Germany lived so well. It wasn't true. It was 1840, they were just as much persecuted. He became the rabbi in this little village. Now it's called Lübeck, it's a big city, then it was Moisting, a little village, in a ghetto. And suddenly the government wanted to make them pay other taxes. So he went to the mayor of the city and says, believe me, we don't have it. So he says, how come you have money to invite guests for Shabbos? He says, from now on you're forbidden to invite guests on Shabbos. Never. So my holy great-great-grandfather, Sukkot's night, had 14 guests in the sukkah. Suddenly he was surrounded by police. And because of 14 guests, they arrested all the 14 guests and my holy grandfather, and they were sitting for 14 days in prison. And there's a letter. He says it was the highest impostor in the world. You know why? Because even in Simos Torah and Mazeda was Purim Day. Gewalt was he proud to be a Jew. Gewalt was he holding on to every word of the Torah. Want you to know something? It's very special. When you read the portion of the week, you don't have to hold on to it. I mean, usually we're holding it because it's very delicate, it can roll off. By the Megillah, you have to hold on to it. Mamish hold on. And if you remember, at a certain point we say, this letter, which Esther sent, we're holding up the Megillah and say, this letter. You know that there's in a book, in a letter? Very simple. On one hand, a book is forever, and a book is for the whole world, and a letter is just for the moment. But yet, on the other hand, a letter is just to you. I cannot say I printed a book for you. A book, you sell thousands, it's for everyone. A letter, it's just to you. So when you're holding on to it, I'm holding on to the Torah. Because all year long I thought the Torah is just a book. But when I hear the Megillah, I realize it was a love letter from God. And friends, you know something? All year long I'm writing love letters. Maybe on paper. On Purim, I'm sending you a banana and a piece of cake. And you know what is written on the banana? It's the deepest Torah in the world. Have you ever noticed when I sent a girl a love letter, a real deep love letter? I don't want to be there when she reads it. because it's so deep. It's too much. I don't even have vessels. Don't even have vessels to meet it. So Purim is not face to face. And humanly speaking, the Megillah Esther is such a deep love letter of God to us that God's name is not mentioned. Like God says, even I don't have vessels to meet it. But then, friends, we close our eyes. We see the Master of the world is always there. Even if it looks sometimes on the outside he's hiding. He's always, always, always there. Always, always. I want you to know one more thing. Imagine I love this girl very much and I'm sending her flowers. Not face to face, right? If she doesn't know where it's coming from, then she really doesn't love me so much because she thinks, is it Moshe, is it Yaakov, is it Chaim? I don't know, right? But if she gets flowers and she says, oh, I know who it's from. All right. I want you to know when we send shlachmonos to each other, we're telling you, do you know who it's from? Do you know who it's from? Anyway. I want to bless you and me with so much shlachmonos. And please don't hesitate to kiss shlachmonos. And may it give you strength because sadly enough there's so many parents in the world who don't kiss their children enough. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But then is something very, very important. While we read the Megillah, and every word of the Megillah is an injection to give us strength. Shlachmonos is even super strength. I mean, it's all the vitamins you need to be a strong Yidele, and a little bit iron, and who knows what else is in there. All those holy vitamins which kept us Jewish people going forever. But I want you to know, this is all our Mother Rachel. Because the way it was handled in the household of Yaakov, our Holy Mother Rachel was giving out the food to the children, but Leah was taking care of the children. So I want you to know, Esther and Mordechai are children of Rachel. Yosef HaTzadik is the one who gives out food to the world. So, can you imagine how much strength Yosef HaTzadik had? According to holy tradition, nobody in the world was tested like Yosef is the wife of Potiphar. Nobody ever in the world was tested of not being angry at his brothers like Yosef HaTzadik. Nobody ever in the world. Gewalt was his strong. This is all Rachel. But then comes the feast. The feast is our Holy Mother Leah. And you know the difference between food and wine? That's very simple. Food also gets through your whole body, but basically it sends energy to your brains, to your heart. But wine, to your toes. You know what Leah is? I don't want God throughout the Torah just to get to my heart, to my head. I want to completely intoxicate it with the Torah. You know, I don't want to just love my children. I want to be drunk with it. I don't just want to love my husband and my wife. I don't just want to love Yerushalayim. I'm intoxicated with it. And before we say goodbye to each other, let me tell you a story I heard from the Heilige Baba Rebbe. You know, in Baba, in Poland, they were not so rich, a little bit. So they had one big, it was called a fass of beer, you know, like a big barrel of beer. It was meant for a few hundred people, and there's this big 6'4" husky chossid is standing and drinks the whole time. So the Rebbe says, listen, where's loving your neighbor as yourself? There are other people also. He says, yeah, this is very cute, but I have to get drunk. So the Rebbe thought for a long time. He says, you know something? If you really love somebody else, you can be drunk loving them. So I want you to know it comes later. You know what Leah is? You know what Mashiach is all about? Suddenly people will not just love each other, they'll be drunk with each other. And you know, until Leah comes, I'm learning the Torah and it's beautiful. I keep the Torah, then it gives me strength. Comes the feast of Purim, I'm drunk with every word. I'm drunk with every Jew I see. I'm drunk with every human being. I'm drunk with every morning the sun comes out. I'm drunk with every sunset. And friends, I bless you. I bless you. And you know, on Yom Kippur, I tell God all my mistakes. It's very holy. Not on Purim. Because I'm much too drunk to remember what I did wrong. Who remembers what I did wrong? And here, really thanking all of you, all the beautiful people who, Sandy and Dvarla, and Moishele, Sheila, Pamela, Borchel, Shimon, Gewalt, the greatest musician, and Noah, the greatest musician, the Heilige of Yankele, the Holy Bob. Thank you for joining us here, and Phil, and everybody who's here. I want you to know, why is it really that on Purim I'm not telling God my mistakes? Why not? Imagine I'm drunk and I feel like telling God everything. I say to God, I want you to know, last Purim I didn't send Shchakmonos. Last Purim I didn't read the Megillah. 2 years ago Purim I didn't even know it's Purim. And 4 years ago, if you wouldn't have told me, I wouldn't have cared. It would be a sweet time to tell God. Why am I not telling it to him? Well, this is the answer. Was there anybody in the world more loving people than the Heilige Woke? Or was there anybody deeper than Woke? They were really drunk, just loving each other. So the Woke had two chassidim. One was Moishele, was again so poor. Yankele was a little bit rich. Not too rich, but rich. Moishele has to marry off his daughter. He needs 2,000 rubles. He goes to Yankele and says, Yankele, please, can you give me a loan of 2,000 rubles? Eventually I'll pay it back. It's a neighbor. What should he do? He has to give it to him. Year after year after year after year, he says, hey, Moishele, you promised me to give it back. You know, I'm not that rich. 2,000 rubles means a lot to me. He says, I don't have it. One night, late at night, after midnight, and maybe it was Purim night, the Holy Woker came to visit Reb Moishele because as much as he was poor in his pockets. But he was mamish one of the biggest chassidim. His heart was in heaven. And Rabbi Yankele looks out of the window and he sees the Heilige Rebbe goes to Moishele. Ah, this is a good time. He knocks on the door. And the Rebbe says, hey, Yankele, so glad to see you. What brings you so late at night to see your neighbor Moishele? He says, Rebbe, I don't want to say anything bad, and I don't want to put my neighbor Moishele to shame, but he owes me 2,000 rubles already for so many years, hasn't paid me back. And the Rebbe says to him, Moishele, please, we're just the three of us, so don't be ashamed. Really, whatever money you have in this house, bring it and put it on the table. Never. Moshe looks like Chometz and Pesach. He looks in all the 15 corners. He brings 57 kopekes, 57 cents on the table. And the Heilige Woker says, that is beautiful. Begins to count. 54, 55, 56, 57. Keeps on counting the same pennies again. 58, 59. 60, 61. He kept on counting until he reached 100,000 rubles. It took the 57 pennies. Said to Moishele, to Yankele, here is your 2,000 rubles with interest. You see, on Yom Kippur, You're close to God. And the heavenly accountant says 10 mistakes, 10 mitzvahs, 20 mistakes, 20 mitzvahs. Try to balance it off, balance it out. But they're counting like straight. On Purim, when we all are drunk, God says, once in your life you put on film, I'm going to count it now for 16 or 13 times. Go out, you did all the mitzvahs, then God counts it more. How many letters are in the Torah? 600,000 letters. He says, Gewalt. Every time you put on film is for one letter of the Torah. He says, Gewalt, you're the biggest tzaddik in the world. And you know, friends, one banana and one piece of cake isn't really much. But imagine if I send you 2 million pieces of bananas and 2 billion pieces of cake, it's a lot, right? So Shlachmonis, I'm sending you 1 banana, 1 piece of cake. And I'm begging you, can you please count it like the Heilige Woche? You know why? Because maybe you did one time in your life a favor to me. But you know why I love you so much? Because the one favor you did to me, I also count thousands of times. Thousands of times. You know why children are so happy on Purim? Because children are the best Wolke counters. They are the real God's accountants. They don't know if 1 to 1 is 100, if 1 to 1 is 2 million. They just know. Oh, I give out what they know. You know, friends, Mordechai and Esther, they give us so much life. But Leah, Mashiach, is deeper than life. It's even deeper. And I don't know what it is because Mashiach hasn't come yet. You know, sometimes you meet friends and in their presence, they take away all your energy. You're tired, you're dead. But sometimes you have friends and their presence, you're alive. Mamish alive. Sometimes you learn something and it's so boring that while you're learning it, you fall asleep and it just... Sometimes someone teaches you something, you're alive. But this is all Rocha. Then comes Leah. I don't know what it is, but on Purim when we're a little bit drunk, we get just a little taste of it. And I want to bless you. Even, I'm sure you gave shlachmonos, you will give out shlachmonos all day Purim. But I want to give you a shlachmonos again when you're drunk. And this is the story. The Heilige Kabrina, the Heilige Lechavich, and the Heilige Shlomo were sitting in the Medrash. It was late after the feast of Purim, and I'm sure most people were asleep and thought they had a good Purim. But the Heilige Kabrina, the Heilige Lechavich, the Shlomo, they knew it only starts now. They had one banana, one piece of cake, and it circled from one to the other. And the Shlomo says, each time it came back to me, I had it in my hand. It was so much holier, so much deeper. And each time it came back, I tasted. I can't tell you what, because it was Purim. I bless you to taste what the three giants tasted that night. And I bless you that the shlachmonos after you're drunk should be that banana and that piece of cake, the Heilige Lechavich, the Heilige Shlomo, the Heilige Kabrina. But one more thing. The Heilige Rishna was sitting in prison. Gewalt was sitting in prison a year and a half. The Russian Tsar was afraid he's taking over Russia. The Rishna never thought of taking over Russia. But you know what happened? The Tsar came to Kiev. The Tsar came to Kiev, and he had 20,000 policemen. And just to put the fear of God into the people, he sent 5,000 people to Siberia just to show them what the Tsar is all about. And when he drove through the streets of Kiev, now but people had to be there and cheer him. It was bad, it was bad. 2 weeks later, the Heilige Rishna came. There was no police. There was no announcement. But the Heilige Rishna came into the city. All the peasants came running out of their houses with little candles. And the Jews and the peasants were dancing. It was like after Mashiach had come. So the governor of Kiev, of the Ukraine, sent a letter to the Russian Tsar. Do you know what kind of power this man has? He can drive into Moscow or to St. Petersburg, take over the city without police, just with his very presence. So the Tsar says, you got to put him in prison. And only later on, they stole him out of prison, they brought the guards, and he went to Austria. I'm sure everybody knows the story. So he was sitting in prison, and the lowest prison. And he says, Master of the world, I want so much to give you shlachmonos. I would like to give shlachmonos to anybody, but there's nobody here. You're the only one who's here. So I have to give you shlachmonos. But I have nothing to give you. Then he says, Master of the world, I'm giving you all my tears for shlachmonos. Then he says, Master of the world, I'm giving you the tears of all of Israel for shlachmonos. Well, then he said, Master of the world, you have to give me back shlachmonos. I'm begging you, give us back all the joy from heaven. Tears we had enough. Give us back joy. Let it be, let it be.
la 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 la